Hi, how's it going? I am super, super sick, but I decided to make another video just because I have so much crap going on in my head and I'm stuck here at home. So, um, obviously, like a bazillion men are getting in trouble right now for sexual harassment, and rightly so. Sometimes, we should have known this already. These guys should have been outed long ago. But for whatever reason, now the shit is hitting the fan. And it's kind of interesting because there's a lot more dialogue going on, which is nice. But then there's also a lot of misunderstanding and fear still because we're not really, having the most intelligent discussion. It's just kind of like a pent up everything coming out all at once. So I've talked to some guys, and it's mostly, first of all, if you're worried about whether what you're doing is going to be coming across as sexual harassment as a man, if you're thinking about that, oh my gosh, could I have done that? You're already better off than, most men that do this shit because they don't ever stop to think, am I hurting this woman? So if you're wondering that in the first place, congratulations, because you're way ahead of the game. It's not the only step, but just stopping to think, like, this is another human being. Do they want to see my dick? Like, good for you. They probably don't. Stop and wonder about that. It, so, I understand there's the fear, like, I want to give this woman a compliment because I genuinely think she has a nice sweater, but it will be taken in the wrong context, and will I get fired because I'm sexually harassing her because I said she has a nice sweater? Most likely, this is not going to happen. How do I know that? Because you can go to HR saying that someone slapped your ass, and unless they have direct video or more witnesses, they won't believe it. And sometimes they'll say, "Did you ask him to stop?" Well, if you didn't ask him to stop, it's not sexual harassment. So that means if I'm getting inappropriate hugs or inappropriate touching from a man at work, and he does it one time, I have to say, I don't like that. Stop doing that before most corporations would, or HR departments would even take a step. I know this is the case at Whole Foods because I know someone that didn't get fired when they should have because they were making people feel uncomfortable, but the girls didn't ask him to stop. So he ended up not getting fired. It was a technicality, and that's fucked up. Women are supposed to take that first step after they've already been made uncomfortable, after they've already been sexually harassed, after they've already been inappropriately touched, because, say you feel like you have to give your boss a hug and you end up feeling his boner every time you get a hug. Guess what? You have to say, I don't like that, please stop, before you'll be taken seriously. So saying a woman has a nice sweater, HR is going to laugh her off. Don't worry about it. Like, seriously, that's not the fucking problem here. And, like, that's why women don't report outright rape, is because they're not taken seriously. And it's just it's kind of funny and kind of sad that men are extremely concerned about this now, because I've been concerned about that, my safety and my well-being, forever. And it's not just at work, it's on the train too. I remember there was a concert going on, and I was taking the train home, and there was these three giant guys, and they were clearly drunk, and they're going on their way to the concert, and I've got no problem with that. And one of them says, "Oh my God, I love your hair. Oh, so fuck, love redheads." Okay, still fine. Up to this point, still fine. He reaches out and he starts patting my hair, and he's drunk, so it's not soft. It's like he's really fondling my hair. okay? And at this point, it becomes a problem because I'm thinking to myself, he's obviously wasted. If I say something rude right now, he could fucking kill me. It doesn't matter if it's a crowded train, he could mess me up. One punch to the face is gonna mess me up for months, you know. And these guys are like almost 3 times my size each. The other two were a little bit more sober, and they kind of had this look of horror on their face when their friend reached out and touched me because they realized that he was doing something wrong. And in that moment, I knew I couldn't say what I wanted to say is don't fucking touch my hair. You know, I felt violated, at least a little bit. You know, what the fuck is on this dirty fucking man's hands, right? And I couldn't say that because he could have hurt me really bad. And what I ended up saying, like many women have learned to do, we use humor or other, you know, snark or whatever to just diffuse the situation and to save ourselves. I said something like, oh, the first one's free, but next time I'm gonna have to charge you, or something like that. To, you know, it was kind of like, you're not welcome to touch my hair anymore, but it made a joke out of it, and it allowed him and his drunk ego to back off. And they got off at the next stop, thank God. But this is one example out of my adult life. This has been happening. I mean, since I was a kid, people have been fondling my hair. And, you know, just imagine a stranger on the bus or a stranger in a line at the grocery store feeling up your hair. And just before you write it off as not a big deal, tell me if you'd really feel comfortable with that happening to you and knowing that you could not say anything to stop it. Just think about that. And, you know, it's really difficult to get across to people that don't have to worry about this. If you haven't been unwillingly fondled ever in your life, you're not really going to get it. Unless you listen to women and some men and children and see what it's like, you know. And this is only part of the problem, is not understanding. And it's not your fault if you don't understand. I mean, you literally can't. You're not in that place unless you can listen to these stories, and like reading a book, you can experience a different life and experience that point of view. The other problem men and women alike do is that when somebody is accused of sexual harassment, they automatically think of all of the good things about that person and use that to judge whether they're capable of doing something horrible. And it's, let me give you an example. It's so and so, you know, was masturbating in front of women. Well, he's such a great father, and he's such a great guy, and he's such a champion of women the rest of the time. How could he be that? How could he do that? And unless you have someone come outright and admit it, there's going to be that doubt forever. There's going to be those people that think, no, that was all bullshit. That was a lie. He didn't really do those things because he couldn't have, because I like him too much. I respect his other qualities too much. Artists and writers from centuries back have had this advantage. We outright know that artists have been abusive to friends and, you know, spouses, and that they've done horrible things to themselves, and yet it's been allowed. Well, they're great artists, therefore we're going to have to deal with that, because you don't ever get someone that's quite balanced. But it doesn't actually have to be that way. We're just being sold that, you know, well, you know, great minds, they're allowed to dilly-dally on the side. We know, you know, several former political leaders and great scientists. You find out later that they had affairs, you know, and it's okay, no big deal. We just kind of brush it off, you know. It's, for men anyway, it's no big deal. So it's kind of weird. It's like, you know, is it something that we can accept, that people that have good qualities can also do bad things. And if the people that have good qualities do bad things, do we have to accept them because of their good qualities? It's weird. In the art and writing world, we've decided, yes, we accept these people despite their flaws because we need that. What if you could change that paradigm? What if you could say, you know what, that doesn't qualify you as a voice for my entertainment. I don't want to, take on the morals and advice from somebody that clearly cannot demonstrate it in their own life. I don't know. We seem to have this idea that if you can, get your ideas sharpened, you don't have to actually live that reality. If you can sound really good, you don't actually have to be a good person. And maybe that's why this is happening right now. People are disgusted with these so-called leaders and these men of value and men of honor, and they have no honor when you look at their personal lives. If you can look at the family values representative, and then he's caught having gay sex in a bathroom, why are you listening to that person when it comes to family values? And of course, the people that I want to just ask this question are not even aware enough to even be wondering if they're wrong. There are people that think that oh, it's just a flirty business. Ha 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 ha. Women just gonna have to deal with flirting, even if it means smack on the ass, even if it means she can't speak up because she'd be fired. What are the boundaries here? Women have only been able to vote for 100 years. Who do you think put this system in place? Who do you think is selling the products? Who do you think is creating the media? Who do you think is controlling the airwaves? Who do you think is controlling our government? It hasn't been women. It hasn't been for a long time. We have this tiny percentage that we're creeping up and trying to help contribute to society. And you know what? We get smacked down a lot, or smacked in the ass a lot. It's a little bit frustrating. And I get it, guys that have been doing the right thing. Maybe you feel suddenly some pressure that you've never felt before, and it feels unfair. It feels like suddenly you have to be so careful with your words. Oh my God, you've never had to do that before. But guess what? I have my entire life had to take on your responsibility and my responsibility and watch my words so that I don't anger men that have power over me. Well, she was asking for it. If she had shut her fucking mouth, I wouldn't have had to choke her out. These are things that have happened to me. I'm sorry if you feel pressured by having to suddenly, take ownership of your own actions and words, but it's about time. Like, I was gonna start this off and do some real compassionate thing, and I realized I've been taking care of business for a long time. I've been trying not to anger men. I've been trying not to, invite sexual harassment in any way. This is what I wear over my regular clothes when I go out so that no one can see the shape of my body, so that I don't get those unwanted comments. I can't go out wearing what I want to wear. These leggings right here are pushing it. If I get comments on my ass, most people would say it's my fault. And believe it or not, it is still possible to sexually harass and sexually assault porn stars, strippers, models, women that are completely buck naked. It's about what they are allowing and what they want. If someone tells you, don't touch me, don't talk to me like that, you've already overstepped your bounds, and she's having to tell you, and she's taken that first step. Please listen. If it happens one time, and call it good. It's the learning experience. And if you can, take one step further and prevent yourself from being an ass in the first place and take on some of that responsibility. Think, you know what, maybe I shouldn't comment on her sweater because she might take it wrong. Maybe I can ask her where she got her sweater from because I have a female relative that would really appreciate that grade of style. It may take a little creativity, but that kind of compliment is going to get across the message that you want a little bit more, do it your own way. But, just might be time to use our words a little bit differently, a little bit better. And, half the population has kind of gotten a break for a while, and y'all gonna have to step up. And I think you can do it. There's some really great guys out there already. I love you guys. You've been so supportive to me. You've helped me out and, not abuse your power of our friendship. And I really appreciate that. And that's what gives me hope for the future. Like I said, if you're even worried about what you're saying in the first place, you're doing something right. It's stepping up. Thank you. And I know I'm a bit sick today. Thanks for listening and leave me any comments or whatever. Stay well. Bye.